Hello and welcome to another Lumbridge Night guide for free-to-play OSRS. In this video we're going to be looking at the best ways to get from 1 to 99 crafting in free-to-play. So what are you waiting for? It's crafting time! The first thing as always is to complete any quests which offer crafting experience. There are actually a few in free-to-play for a change, and these are Sheep Shearer for 150 XP, Goblin Diplomacy for 200 XP, Misthalin Mystery for 600 XP, and you could also do X marks the spot for an additional 300 XP lamp. And this will get us all from level 1 to 8. So having got the basic quests under our belts, we now have a choice or not based on your account. If you're an Ironman, don't have enough money to do the faster method, or want to take advantage of the extra mining and smithing XP, then I'm going to cover this next. If you want the fastest possible method, which involves the GE and is purely crafting, then skip to the second method. Now, for the manual method, we're going to need to have completed the quests mentioned previously, as well as the following items and skills. At least level 20 mining, 20 smithing, and a mithril pickaxe. Ideally, however, I would recommend 40 mining, 40 smithing, and a rune pickaxe, as it will make mining much quicker. You'll also need some basic crafting supplies, consisting of a couple of needles and thread for the first part of this method. You'll then need a holy mould, a tiara mould, and an amulet mould. Once the quests are done and we have the right skills and items, the first thing to do is farm cows, probably in Lumbridge. To get from levels 8 to 16, which is the target of this section, you're going to need around 85 cow hides, which breaks down as follows. If you're doing this in Lumbridge, as I would recommend, you'll need to go through the toll gate into Alkabid to use the tanner and the bank, or walk around a long way. This requires 10 coins per pass, or is free if you've completed the Prince Ali quest, the guide to which will be popping up on the screen now. Each hide will also cost 1 coin to tan into leather, and you will also need a couple of needles and 85 thread. This will bring your total cost to around 172 coins, not accounting for any passes through the toll gate. Once we hit level 16, we want to move on to Unstrung Symbols. If you're not already there, head over to Alkabid and buy yourself a holy mould for 5 coins. You want to keep this in your inventory, withdraw and equip your pickaxe, and bank everything else to minimise your weight and maximise your run energy. Then head over to the Alkabid mine. Although before you do that, I've got a quick little bonus tip. You could also carry at least 825 coins during each run. On your way to the mine, head past the gem trader and check to see if any of the sapphires and emeralds are in stock. If they are, buy them. Try to start each of your runs on a different game world and keep checking the stores regularly. The restock times are extremely long for these items, and most players will buy these up if they notice them. So I would maybe do this every 2 or 3 runs, and not every run, as 9 out of 10 times you won't find any gems. Bank any gems you get from the mining too, as they will be particularly useful later on. Once we get to the mine each of the 5 silver veins, world hop and do it again. Repeat this until you have a full inventory. Once you do, head back to the bank. On the way, stop at the furnace and smelt your silver into bars. Then craft them into Unstrung Symbols, and then bank the lot. Repeating this whole cycle 3 to 4 times should give us the 71 symbols we need to hit level 23. To give you a baseline target, from bank to bank each run took me about 8 minutes with 50 mining and a rune pickaxe. This means that I'll get about 7.5 runs per hour, assuming an average of 25 silver per run, and we are looking at about 188 holy symbols per hour, which gives us the following XP rates on the screen now. At 23, we can start making tiaras and creaming that extra 2.5 XP per item, baby. This means we need to head back to the crafting shop and buy ourselves a tiara mould for the extortionate fee of 100 coins. Yowza. Then we do exactly the same as the previous step. Head to the mine, occasionally checking the gem trader for gems, mine the silver veins, world hop, repeat until full. Then on the way back, smelt your bars, craft your tiaras, bank them and start again. The run times and XP rates are obviously basically the same as the previous step, though that banging extra 2.5 XP per item bumps up the crafting XP to around 9,870 per hour. Please like the video and support my content. Thank you, noble knight. When you've made approximately 590 tiaras, you should hit level 40. At this point, you can choose to move your operation to the crafting guild, The Crafting Guild has an extra silver vein, and the deposit box at Port Sarim is a shorter run than the bank at Alcarid, but you will be sacrificing the efficiency of smelting and crafting your tiaras at the end of each run. So overall, it's probably the same difference, and if you factor in the crafting time on top of the mining time, my advice is to just stay in Alcarid. For argument's sake, I did a little comparison, which should help you make your mind, and you can see the times on the screen. Now, once your mining, crafting and smithing is greater than level 40, you can drop out of your tiara runs and turn any gems you've banked into amulets. I say amulets as these will generate the maximum XP. You will need to buy a chisel from the crafting shop for 1 coin and an amulet mold for 5. Wherever you are mining, be it Alcarid or the Crafting Guild, you're best doing full inventory runs of gold. Then when you have enough, cut your gems and craft the amulets at a furnace. Alcarid or Edgeville are probably the best choices here. This method is only useful when you have gemstones, as you get the highest XP in free-to-play. Outside of this, tiaras offer the highest sustainable crafting XP, so this is us until level 99 basically, in which case we're going to need about 248,000 tiaras in order to hit level 99, minus any XP we get from crafting the various gems into amulets. The bonus of this method is the fact that we are training 3 skills at once, so from this alone we will also get to around level 85 smithing and level 96 mining. Okay, for those of you not restricted by your account, the fastest way to get your crafting to 99 is to simply buy gems and, well, cut them. You'll need to get to level 20 crafting to start cutting sapphires, and to cut a gem you will need a chisel. If you're not already at level 20, you will also need an amulet mold too. Unfortunately, the downside to this method is you will also need a reasonably high amount of coin, somewhere in the region of at least 100 million coins, depending on market conditions. To get to level 20 crafting, I recommend completing the quests mentioned at the start of the video, and then buy yourself 123 gold bars from the GE, head to Edgeville and make gold amulets up to level 20. Once you hit level 20, head back to the GE with your money and your chisel, and start buying sapphires. You'll need 105 to get from levels 20 to 27, which unlocks emeralds, and so on and so forth. See the table with a breakdown courtesy of OSRS Wiki. Remember to sell your cut gems on the GE to recoup some of your investment. Overall, from levels 20 to 99, you'll be looking at about a 30% loss. Moreover, looking at the XP rates, it will take about 45 hours of work to get from 20 to 99, which in all honesty, for a 99 in free to play, is pretty good in comparison to most other skills. Now obviously, not everyone is going to have 300 mil plus going spare, but do not fret. Crafting gold jewellery is an alternative method that's still reasonably fast, and better yet, you can actually turn a profit. Once you've done the aforementioned quests, you'll need some coin. Say 1 mil will be enough to get you going. A necklace mold, a ring mold, and an amulet mold. Once again, I'm utilising a table from OSRS Wiki, and this time instead of buying uncut gems, we are buying gold bars and cut gems. So as we are already level 8, we need to buy 123 gold bars, or you would, but I don't agree with the first 2 sections of this table. I don't agree because silver symbols give 50 XP each, while gold amulets and sapphires give 30 and 40 XP each respectively. So you might not make money on the silver, but you will save time, and we're talking a couple of K coins difference at most. So instead, buy 65 gold bars and 58 silver bars. Head over the way to Edgeville and craft 65 gold amulets, getting your crafting to 16, then craft 58 unstrung symbols, getting you to 22. Now we can go back to following the table from OSRS Wiki, head back to the GE, set your freshly crafted items to sell, remember to withdraw them noted, and then buy the 26 gold bars and 26 sapphires needed to craft the sapphire necklaces for the next step. Once you have the materials, head back to Edgeville, craft them, and then head back to the GE and sell them, and then simply repeat. There's really nothing stopping you from bulk buying the materials you need at this point other than the size of your wallet. So work your way through each item on the list and you will eventually hit 99. It will take about 125 hours following this method, and by the end you stand to make a decent profit depending on the market conditions. So you can see in comparison, cutting gems is more than twice as fast, but will cost you a hell of a lot of coin. Bear in mind as well that this is all based off current market rates, The GE values will fluctuate over time, so the profitability of this method and the cost of the other method will vary over time. So bear that in mind before you set out following either of these two methods. And that brings us to the end of this video. Whichever method you choose to follow, I wish you the best of luck. Please leave a comment if you have any hints, tips and tricks of your own, as I'm keen to hear them. And all that's left for me to say is I've been the Lumbridge Knight, peace out and thanks for watching.